right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another, I think this is probably going to be something between a review and a rant. Probably more of a rant than anything else. But we're back, and we're going to be talking about the Kenobi series that just wrapped up. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney+. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it something else? So before we get started, I want to show you guys something really quickly. This is my brand new Star Wars art that we just got from the store about a week or so ago. It's the cover of the original Star Wars A New Hope. There we go. Yeah. So you have the whole crew on there. And at the bottom it just says Star Wars. So I wanted to show you guys this. I'm really proud of this. I really like it. I didn't personally make it. Found it in the store. Bought it. It was fantastic. Loved it. But yeah. Like I said, before we get started, just want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, share this video, do what you gotta do. Because I'd like to grow this channel a little bit. It'd be a lot of fun. So let's get down to the meat and bones of it. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is it a good show? Is it a bad show? Is it something in between? Honestly, I don't know. There are really good moments in this show, and there are some really bad ones too. So let's start with the positives, and then we'll get into the negatives. Oh, by the way, for anyone who's watching this, I'm gonna get started here. There are spoilers in this episode. For the last episode and for the Kenobi series as a whole. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple seconds to get away. You have 5 seconds. Okay, we're getting into spoilers. All right, so positives of this Kenobi show. The Vader scenes are amazing. I love every scene that he's in. There's a lot of talk of how Disney has screwed up with Star Wars, has screwed over a lot of characters. Vader seems to be the only character that they haven't managed to over royally. Every scene he's in, I truly feel like this is Vader. This is badass. Whether it's Rogue One, whether it's a Kenobi series, whether it's just, it's all good. And Hayden Christensen, who came back, who played Anakin in the prequels, brings that physicality back to Vader. And I love it. It's all good. It's great. Some of the big emotional moments genuinely made me feel something. Whether it was anger, whether it was me tearing up a little bit, we'll be getting to that in a second. Whether it was Obi-Wan's connection to Luke, Obi-Wan trying to help Leia, Leia's kind of feelings about not knowing who her parents are, Vader's feelings towards Obi-Wan. I genuinely felt them, and I want to make sure that point's addressed. The final Vader versus Obi-Wan fight in the final episode is fantastic. It not only gives you great action sequences, while also having, and again, this is a spoiler, there's a conversation at the end of the fight where half of Vader's mask is cut, and you see Hayden with all of the makeup and, you know, the destroyed Vader face talking, and Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi begins to tear up and goes, "I'm so sorry, Anakin. I'm so sorry for everything that has led us to this." And Vader turns around and goes, "I am not your disappointment," which I loved. Also, there's a line that Vader says to Kenobi, "You did not kill Anakin Skywalker. I did," which I love, because whether you're someone like me who thinks Vader and Anakin are two separate entities, just in the mind, obviously same physically, same physical body, but whether you think that he has like some sort of DID where Vader's one personality and Anakin is another, or you think that it's just, you know, Anakin trying to bury all of those, all of his past under this new Vader visage, I think it's a really good line, and it's a really cool way. And like, Obi-Wan's literally tearing up. He's seeing his old apprentice, this kid who he practically half raised, a brother figure, just destroyed by what's happened, and I really love that. Leia is well written. I don't care what anyone says. I think Leia is great. Young Leia, kid Leia is fantastic. She gets my chef's kiss 10 out of 10. Love little kid Leia. She's well written. She's well acted, and the little girl who plays little Leia is freaking adorable. She's just cute little button. Love her. I don't know why she's getting so much hate. Stop, please. I reference you my Fandom Menace and Disney's hypocrisy video. Stop going after actors and actresses, please. I think the flashback scenes are great that both Vader and Obi-Wan have. And I like the new ways that they're kind of integrating these. So for example, instead of just having like full audio and visual flashbacks, there's a moment in the last episode where Obi-Wan is stuck under a pile of like rocks that Vader's basically buried him under. And you hear the lines from the old films. You see flashbacks to previous episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and they kind of mix and mingle, and I really liked that. And I thought they did a really good job with that. Now, for the negatives, which I know is all anyone wants to hear, the negatives. So we'll get into that. There are quite a bit. Negatives. Let's start with Reva, the third sister. I'm pretty sure. See, I can't remember. My personal feelings on Reva is she is unnecessary in this show. I think if you pull Reva out of this show, not a whole lot changes. Obviously, we don't get that whole she's conspiring against Vader. She's trying to bring Kenobi to Vader so that Vader drops his guard so she can kill him. Cool, I guess. It's something we haven't necessarily seen before, which is, I mean, it's kind of nice, but for an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I feel like she doesn't fit. I think that if she's in any other random Star Wars thing, like if she had showed up in Rebels or things like that, I don't think it would have been that bad. I don't think she would have gotten nearly the amount of pushback that she had. That when I say she, I mean the character, not the actress. And in terms of the actress, Moses Ingram is truly doing her best. She's a great actress. I've looked into her other projects she's been in. She's been really good. I really liked her in The Queen's Gambit. But yeah, I feel like Reva as a character is unnecessary in Kenobi. She doesn't need to be there for this story to take place. There are a lot of moments in this series where I just feel like screaming at my TV. The first Kenobi Vader fight is lackluster. It really is. I understand it's because like we're trying to build to the big climactic fight. I understand that. I understand we're going for Kenobi has PTSD. He's weak because he's been in the desert all these years. It's not like this is not Revenge of the Sith Kenobi, right? This is a man who is beaten and broken by his circumstance. And I understand that. But I still feel like if you're going to give me an Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Vader fight, it can't be, and I mean this with all due respect, it feels like a fan fiction. The way it's shot, the way it's the choreography, and nothing against fan fictions. I love fan fictions. I write fan fictions. I enjoy them. I think there's been a lot of really good fan productions for Star Wars. But for a multi-billion-dollar corporation, I feel like we're owed a little bit more. Hiding Leia in a trench coat to get off Fortress Inquisitorius was one of the stupidest things I've seen in years, I think. Why? What? I get you're trying to do the Imperials are incompetent. Really? That far we're gonna go with that? Owen versus Reva fight in the last episode? That should have been over in seconds. She's trying to hand-to-hand combat him while he's swinging a pole at her. Ma'am, you have a lightsaber. Use it. And then she eventually does. But like, bothered me. Vader not killing Reva. When she lets Kenobi go. I understand it's the whole, she had a tracker, she had a plan, but still, Vader should have just straight up killed her. Like, picked her up, which he does, chokes her, and then, like, stabbed her through the gut. Like, come on! You've seen Vader choke out a guy because he let the Falcon fly away too soon. Like, Admiral Piet is rolling in his grave right now. Okay? I think lastly, Kenobi leaves Tatooine again to say goodbye to Leia when she's back on Alderaan at the end of the final episode. Now, I understand that people have a lot of issue with Kenobi leaving Tatooine to rescue Leia. I am not one of those individuals. I think that Kenobi's priority is to protect the children of Anakin. I understand Bail Organa should be responsible for Leia, but as a father and as a parent, you're going to do everything you can to protect your child. And if that means having to pull some old retired Jedi off a sand planet to rescue your child, who may in fact be one of the keys to ending the Empire, I think that's a good enough justification for Kenobi leaving. However, he does it again on the final episode just to say goodbye to Leia. And I don't like that. It is not a good enough justification to fly back to Alderaan and leave Luke. I understand Reva is no longer a threat. No one knows it's on Tatooine, but still, you can't do that. Like, this better be a life or death situation for him to leave Tatooine. And that bothered me. The first time, it is a life and death situation, right? With Leia being kidnapped and possibly killed, tortured, or God forbid, Vader finding out they're on Tatooine. But yeah, really didn't like that. However, the actual scene itself with Kenobi saying bye to Leia, I genuinely teared up. It was a heartwarming, good feeling scene that kind of showed us a little bit more of that humanity side of Kenobi, which I really liked. I don't think this scene should have happened. I think it is a bordering on a blasphemy. Yes, I'm going to use that kind of language for this. For leaving Tatooine just to say goodbye to Leia, but the scene itself is not terrible. I just like the justification for why this scene should exist. Okay, that's my negatives. There are probably others that I'm forgetting. I may make a second video to this, I'm not sure, but yeah. So, there's one other thing I want to talk about before I finish this video, because we are running on, I think, 13 minutes or so. Let's talk canon. Now, there's a lot of discussion in the Star Wars community about respecting canon, not breaking canon, while still trying to create new and engaging stories that fit in this timeline. No matter where you fall on this, whether you think the Kenobi show should not exist, whether or not you think that the Grand Inquisitor being stabbed in the stomach breaks canon because we still have Rebels or whatever, I think that canon is really important, and I think that if you're going to create stories within an already pre-existing timeline or series of events, I think you should respect that. Now, saying that, I want to talk about Disney's justification for potentially breaking canon, and I'm going to quote the exact words of Deborah Chow, who directed the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So this is from an article by ABC. I believe this was released June, was it 1st or 2nd? Hold on, give me one moment. June 1st. Okay, this is right after the 3rd episode dropped. So this is what the article says. And that's the danger of dabbling in canon or established lore, something Chow tells ABC Audio was the biggest challenge of Obi-Wan Kenobi. She further goes on to say, quote, obviously we do have these huge iconic characters and we're in between two trilogies. So, for us, we were very much trying to respect the canon and, not break anything. But at the same time, we also needed to tell a new story and tell something original. So it was really just kind of about trying to find that balance with the show. Now, before I say anything else, I do think that Deborah Chow did a good job directing. I do. I quite like Deborah Chow. I've liked her past stuff with Star Wars. I've liked other things that she's worked on. I've enjoyed them. However, it worries me when you have people on a project openly admitting that, hey, we know there are rules. Hey, we know that there are, to quote what she said, huge iconic characters. We're in between two trilogies. That it kind of bothers me when you say these things and then do things that kind of feel like you're fudging the canon or outright breaking it. For example, there's been a lot of talk about the line in New Hope where Vader says, a presence I've not felt since, and then walks away. Now, for most of us, because we have the prequels, we all have kind of assumed that meant Mustafar. Now, if we're going to be ultra charitable to Deborah Chow and to Disney, then technically, because that sentence ends in a runoff and he never finishes it, there is no technical thing saying when he last saw him. So there is a little bit of wiggle room. However, you need to be very careful when you're wiggling, because there are things that you do and there are things that you don't do when you are wiggling around in there. It's like, this is the best analogy I have for this. It's like when someone gets stabbed, right? Now, I'm someone who knows first aid. One of the first things you learn is you don't pull the thing that was used to stab the person. You don't pull it out, because that will often cause more damage than the initial stab wound. And I think that this is equal to Disney and executives and directors and producers finicking around with already established Star Wars lore. The initial Star Wars lore is the stab wound. We have the wound. But when you're in there wiggling around, trying to pull this thing out, you may be doing more damage to the already story than we already have. And I think that's something that's worth talking about. So, my final conclusions on the Kenobi show. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it something in between? My honest thoughts are, it's there. I think that there's something for everyone to enjoy, whether you're a diehard OT fan, whether you're a diehard prequels fan, whether you love Star Wars, whether you think canon's important, whether you don't think canon's important. I think that there's a little bit for everyone to love, and I think there's something there for everyone to enjoy, even if it's just a little bit. So on that note, I'm going to sign off for today. I appreciate you guys listening, watching. Again, like, share, subscribe, do the thing. Please, it would really appreciate if you want to leave a comment. I love comments. I love interacting with people. So please, go ahead. And on that note, that's going to be it, guys. And I will talk to you another time. Adios.